You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back with another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Woo, we're about to get into August. It's like, what? I was finally getting into July, and here we are in August. It's a lot. I'm like, oh my God. Time is going by so fast, but we're having so much fun. And this past week has been nothing but a blast. I'm just soaking it all in, y'all. I'm taking it all in. The book tour is book touring. We hit the South. We had a lot of fun. So it's a lot to catch up on. And we have some great stuff to talk about. It's been a lot. And you all have seen it. So it's time for us to talk. So the book tour, you saw us. We was in Upper Darby on Monday. And it was lit, last week. Mayor Barbara Ann Keffer invited me to Upper Darby, and they were so lovely. Shout out to Barbara Ann. Shout out to the whole Upper Darby team who brought me down there. It was quite an experience, and it was so nice to be a part of a city, supported event. I talked about my book, The Case for Council Culture. It was nice to meet fans from, the suburbs and the surrounding counties because, oftentimes, people have to come to Philadelphia. And this was the only place in Pennsylvania outside of Philly that I did my book tour at. And it was so great. Barbara Ann is a big, huge fan of Ernestly Speaking. She listens to it, and she really listens to it. How people I listen to your podcast. She listens to the podcast. So shout out to her and her lovely family who was there, her husband who asked great questions, her daughter who was so just full of life and so fun. It was a great experience. Everyone from the city, they had city elected officials that were also there. She's wrapping up her term as mayor. She's such a great woman, just thoughtful, and brought a lot of life to there. They had been under Republican leadership for a long time, but she kind of broke through as a Democrat. And now she's laid a foundation for other Democrats to be in leadership following her. So, she's done a lot of great work, and just embracing, what I'm doing is already, I know she's going to do well in her next, career endeavors and everything else. So shout out to Barbara Ann and the wonderful people at Upper Darby. Right after that, I headed to New Orleans, which was the bomb. New Orleans, it was a great, lovely welcome. I haven't been back there in 6 years. The last time I went was in 2017 for the PABJ convention. And in that convention, New Orleans, I had won Emerging Journalist of the Year. Oh, how far we've come. But it was a great time. I ate my way through. I was only there for one night and one night only. But when I tell you, y'all, I maximized the experience. I really took full reign of my New Orleans experience. Y'all were giving me recommendations. And listen, no shade. But I know New Orleans because I have family who is right there in Texas, right across. So I know where to go. So I went to Killer Po' Boys, who has some good Killer Po' Boy sandwiches, different ones that are not the traditional. Not that I don't like the traditional po' boys, because let me tell you, New Orleans make them great, but I just wanted to do something that was a little out of the box. And so Killer Po' Boys, they do some different things over there. So I ate there. My book signing was at Baldwin and Company. Shout out to everybody who came out. People came from Mississippi. Shout out to my homie Marlon Walker, who's an incredible journalist and just a good friend I've had for years. He came all the way from Mississippi to come to this book signing. A couple of you are Earnestly Speaking listeners. Y'all showed up. Shout out to y'all. I was like, what? People say, why are you surprised? Because the thing is that even though I've been fortunate and blessed to have, I know that there are people that watch, but it's great to have those one-on-one interactions, and it never gets old. People tell me their stories, how they connect with me, how they find out about the work that I do and things. And so it's just great to see these people outside of my bubble, my Philadelphia bubble. So I'm always touched by that. So it was incredible. Shout out to Will Sutton. He's a former PABJ president years ago. He now is a columnist. He's a veteran journalist, a columnist in New Orleans, and he is a former NABJ president. So he was there, showed love. His family came out. It was a great book signing, great conversations, so much great fun for sure. I went that week, Tales of the Cocktail, which is the largest national cocktail festival in the country. They were in New Orleans. They have it in New Orleans every year, but I finally my book signing and Tales of the Cocktail happened the same week. Went to a lot of great cocktail events, the Four Seasons. I was just cocktails galore. I've just been on one. Like, I don't know. Me and a cocktail have been homies lately. But cocktails were incredible. It was an incredible time. I went to the Four Seasons. I had Aperol Spritz. It's a summer cocktail. People don't like Aperol Spritz, I'm hearing. What's up, Joe? What are you doing? Anyway, people are not into there's I don't know. Well, let me be clear. My melanated folk are kind of, ambivalent to Aperol Spritz. And now I feel like people looking at me like I'm a different type of Negro. I don't know. I like them. I like Aperol Spritz. Gio, George, Jamarcus, the Lip Brothers like Aperol Spritz. I don't know. Is it because I don't know. I like it. But anywho, I'll get back to Aperol Spritz in a minute while that conversation is hot. But I enjoy it. My taste is very, like I was having Arvark cocktails with Arvark, which is a very Middle Eastern type of liqueur. We had the 5-star anise type of flavor blend. I love the cocktail. One of my friends, they was like, eh. I was like, y'all, like, but it's, you got to get around. So anyway, New Orleans was great. Dragos, because I stayed at the Peter and Paul Hotel. Sidebar. Everyone kept asking me what hotel I stayed in. I'm sorry I didn't tag it because, stalkers. I mean, not that I have any stalkers I know of, but stalkers are out there. I stayed at the Peter and Paul Hotel, which is a cute boutique hotel that's a part of an old church, historic, very artistic, very, lots of Art Deco, vintage Art Deco, very pretty, very nice. It had a bunk bed, which is very fun. But it was cute. I stayed there. It was an in and out overnight stay. Great people, great vibes. I can't complain. It was a very great environment, and the hospitality was on point. So I really loved it there. But listen, Dragos at the Hilton, divinity. If you can't hit all the New Orleans places, Mothers, all the other places that they recommend you go to Dragos. Go to Dragos and have the things you heard about. Because even if the things that you heard about may not be the best of the best, it is one of the best. And honestly, it hits your check marks in New Orleans. If you want an overnight stay, go to Dragos. I did not make a reservation. It was a walk-in. It was a vibe. Oh my God. Okay, so I had the charboiled oysters. I had a dozen of them because I was greedy. And I ate all of them. And they were delicious. I had the gumbo. Delicious. And I had the mama's gumbo, like the gumbo that she wanted to have. It was called the mama's gumbo. It was an original one, but you could do other ones. Delicious. Dandroli sausage, crawfish, delicious. It was delicious. I had the fried shrimp, the Creole shrimp dish. I just wanted to just try it. Phenomenal. Exceptional. This is why people like New Orleans. It was incredible. It was a great meal. I had a good time. I did. I had a really, really good time. Did I have a daiquiri? Of course I had a daiquiri. I did. Just a great trip. That was a phenomenal trip. Next day I woke up early in the morning and I took myself to Houston, Texas. H-Town, my birthplace. And it did not disappoint. My book signing was at the Barnes and Nobles in Town and Country. So many family, friends, fans, folks just came out. It was a homecoming. I exceeded my expectations. Of course, my family was out. My little brother, my mom, my stepdad, my aunt, lots of my family, my mom's coworkers, people that knew when I was growing up, my friends from high school. Oh my God, one of my homegirls, my best friends from Houston, Cindy, she was there with her baby and her boo. It was so cute. Hot shout out to my girl Chelsea. Jamarcus came through, my bestie. Oh my God, it was a family reunion. My homegirl Jess. And I have to make a special shout out to someone, her friend, who I look at as a friend now, Portia, who listens to my podcast religiously. I didn't know, I don't, people, I don't know if they want to shout out loud, I never know. But I met her in person. She listens to Ernestly speaking religiously, and she's doing great work as a public defender in Texas, Black queer woman doing her thing. And it was so great to see her in person. My friend Jess had always told me she was a fan, but she came through. She was all dressed up. We had like similar colors. We know everybody knew the assignment was, the suits. But we just had such a good time, and she was so sweet. So thank you so much, Portia, for coming out. I'm so happy that, you got a signed copy in person, and just great to see you in person. So shout out to you, and thank you for being a loyal listener and supporter of what I do. And just keep doing the great work that you're doing, because it's important work. Public defenders across the country are dealing with a lot in this type of era that we're in politically. In Philadelphia, we have a public defender named Keir Bradford Gray, who's running for Attorney General in Pennsylvania, and she's a Black woman doing great work. And I have a profound respect for public defenders. My friends are doing it, like my good friend Jess and Portia. They're doing some great work in Texas. So, if there's public defenders, they doing fundraisers and support them. If you don't know who to give your money to politically, and you don't know where they're going to lean, support the public defenders, because they're the people that defend your cousins and your uncles and folks that cannot afford a lawyer. And just because you can't afford a personal lawyer does not mean you don't deserve the right to a fair trial and justice. And that is very important. So public defenders matter. I'm very fortunate to have my own lawyer, but a lot of people don't have that access. And so the work that Jess is doing, the work that Portia is doing, and Kira and other folks is important, because so many people, need those public defenders. We can't all get a lawyer on call. And so these people do matter, and they are effective. People always assume you get a public defender, your case is going down the drain. Not necessarily. We saw what happened with Michael White in Philadelphia when Keir Bradford Gray, who was the chief public defender in Philadelphia, she even did work in Montgomery County. She defended him like a client that was paying her six figures. And that person, got a lot of major charges dropped against them. And now they're able to be a fully participating citizen. And now they have surpassed the point where their probation is off, because they had a probation for one of the charges that didn't get dropped. And guess what? The probation is over, and they did not break the law during that time. So they are now a fully free citizen doing that great work. So this work matters. Public defenders matter, and people who have that perspective of the law matter. So shout out to them. My time in Houston was incredible. New Orleans was great. So I got to update, because, I've been out here being a TSA pre-check, supporter, ambassador, disciple, ambassador for all the reasons. But I have done something different, and I do want to take the time to talk about it. So I still have PSA pre-check, because I got it for 5 years. Like, I have the next 5 years I renewed. But I now have clear. Now, for some of y'all, like, here he go again, trying to promote something. What is it now, Ernest? Let me explain. I have clear. Let me tell you why I got clear. How I got persuaded. Even though, it's extra. It's for my extra people. It's for my people that, got a little bit to splurge. Now, personally, PSA pre-check, I think, if you listen to this podcast, it's worth the investment. You're spending, $90 one time only for 5 years. If you've grown and you travel a lot, you should be getting PSA pre-check. That is just simple. Get it and stop playing. Stop playing. Because to be honest, I have to admit something to you. I have been cheating. Not in my marriage, clearly not, but on this travel game. Now, I know that when you travel, you're supposed to be at least 2 hours before, right? That's what they say. Lately, y'all, I've been doing some dirty work. I've been coming about 45 minutes to an hour before I go. Now, what I do in advance, I do check in in advance. But now I've been pushing the needle. Lately, I've been, rip me out the plastic. I've been acting brand new. I've been doing some new things. I know I should be ashamed of myself, but because I got the TSA pre-check, I'm cutting the lines a lot faster. However, I had a situation recently when I was going to Houston, and that pre-check line was getting a little long. Now, to be real with you, I had no business coming like that close to the time. Okay, let me tell you how bad this was. I went to the pre-check line. I was in the TSA pre-check line at. Let me make sure I get my times right. I was there at 4:50. My my flight check-in or whatever they call it when they call you to board was at 5:10. You heard that correct. You looking at me, some of y'all might be listening. If you travel like, what the fuck. Now, I've been doing this. I was on some Tom Cruise Mission Impossible shit. I was in the TSA pre-check line at 4:50. My boarding on the flight was at 5:10. Now that was way too much. And if my mother knew this, when I talked to her, she would have been like, come on. But I did it. Now, here's the crazy part. When I made it through the past the line, I was free at about 5 o'clock. So I had 10 minutes to spare before boarding. Now, here's why I say this. I don't like to be in the airport super long because when I'm at the airport super long, I feel like I start doing stupid shit. I start buying shit I don't need to eat, and I'm spending money on dumb stuff. I'm eating stuff I don't eat. Like I just be doing too much. I be looking at the stores, and you know what my addiction is? It's Kiehl's. I love me some Kiehl's products. They put Kiehl's in the little shopping center of the airport. So I'm thinking to myself, well, while I'm here, let me go ahead and do a. I'm like, no, you don't need this. Why are you buying this cream? You already have enough. That's the stuff that I just like. I don't need to be here because if I'm here, I'm going to overeat. I'm going to overdrink. I'm going to do the most. I'm going to be bored. So I like to not spend too much time in the airport because it's tempting. That's just my experience. So I try to cut time, but I cut time a little too much. The lady next to me looked at me and she said, that's the TSA pre-check. See, if you had clear, you would have already been in line. I said, you know what? You tempted me. Tell me more. So I came back, she told me more. So here's the thing. It's about $189 a year to get it. But the thing about what I like about it, again, for my folks that are traveling a lot, if you don't travel a lot, this may not apply to you. But if you travel a lot, come here closer. So let me tell you about what I like about this clear with the TSA pre-check. Let me back up and say this. Don't get clear if you don't have TSA pre-check because it doesn't matter. This is for my people that's like, look, I already dropped $89 for the pre-check. I don't got paid in 5 years, whatever. This clear is about $89. It's $189, I think, a year. But if you have certain credit cards, okay, you might be eligible to get it for free or not have to pay according to your credit card or get a discount. It's all types of things. So I did this cool thing. I got it. And now I'm on clear now. You can add family members for $70. So you don't have to spend the same amount. So my husband, I got him on it for $70 because we're about to go to Martha's Vineyard. We're about to travel and do some holiday stuff. And also just because he has stuff he does too. So you can add family members on it and it's $70 per family. If you add other families, you can add up to 3 family members. I didn't add my younger brother. Look, TSA pre-check is enough for him. Plus, he shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So, he'll be good. If you have TSA pre-check and you do make time and you got the 2-hour situation, whatever is fine. But if you want some Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise, 90 minutes to an hour get situation, Clear's for you. Let me tell you why I like Clear compared to TSA. Now, TSA is straight too, but let me explain how this works. You go through Clear. All you do is tap your hand. You show your check-in. That's it. Automatically, you don't have to show your ID. You have to do nothing else. All you do is show your boarding pass. You do a hand pat at the little Clear kiosk. They have multiple kiosks. So you tap the kiosk. You show the fancy, your boarding pass that lets you in. You have to take off your shoes. You don't have to take off a damn thing. Then let me tell you how even fancy do. The Clear ambassador or associate will automatically pull you and take you to the front of the TSA line. You cut straight through the line. You don't got to do all the other shit. You just go right through the line and they say clear and they let you through. And you out. So when I got back from Houston to Philadelphia, I had signed up already. I did it. Let me tell you something. I went in there, tapped my hand, put my boarding pass on the kiosk. The lady just took me straight to them like I was VIP. They was like, who is that? They was like, who is this? Excuse me, I'm in TSA. How the hell he cut TSA? Because I'm clear, bitch. They put me through the front, sent me right through. It was the easiest, simplest, straightforward experience I ever had. I didn't have to take out my ID. Let me tell you something. One of the things I realized when I travel is this is how you get your shit lost. You got to take out your wallet, your stuff. Now, TSA pre-check. Let me say this for my other folks. You don't have to take off your shoes and your jewelry. You just have to take off like any like earbuds or Bluetooth in your phone and your laptops. And everything else goes through. So it goes efficiently. But when you do that clear, let me tell you something. The clear lets you just cut the whole line. So at TSA pre-check, I have to wait in line. And them TSA pre-check lines are getting a little long, a little long. Some places, major cities, it get a little long, depending on what day you flying. So you notice I said 4 o'clock. So that's in the PM time, midday. So the TSA lines get a little longer. Now, early mornings, most if you catch a flight before 11 a.m., you good. But clear, I like clear anyway, because I have to deal with all the other additional showing your ID 5,000 times. The clear person moves you straight to the front, tell you clear, and you just walk on through. You ain't got to show no boarding pass. You ain't got to do all the extra shit. All of my clothes are on. All of my devices are on. I don't got to do all the extra fancy stuff. So I'm into clear. Just going to put that there. I'm into clear. Just saying. Take it or leave it. Not, it's my personal endorsement. I fucks with it. Now, to Eater. This is my second week. I'm so excited about this. I am proud to announce that I've been able to hire people. So I've hired 2 new freelancers to be a part of the Eater family under Eater Philly. I've been really doing a lot of in-house cleaning and just getting myself together. Week 2 was definitely a week where I got to really produce some real strong content, making some decisive decisions. Really feel like I'm in the seat now. I'm in the top seat. And it feels really, really good, to be honest, just to be able to have the ability to make the calls. And what's been so great is I have a really good team that really respects my creativity and allow me to think outside the box. And so that's been very pivotal to the work that I've been doing. One of the greatest things I did this past week was I released the list of the hottest restaurants in Philly in July. And that has caused a lot of interesting conversation. Because, I only pick about 15 and I put some new restaurants on there. There hasn't been a real Philadelphia editor in the past 5 years, not 5 years, but in the past year. And, a editor that is based in Philly, lives in Philadelphia, it's been a year. And so my role has really been just bringing people back to the site, checking it out. And you all have done that. You all have brought the fire. You all have brought the traffic. Philly.eater.com. Y'all have been going on Eater Philadelphia again, looking at the new places. I've been having some really good fun editorializing the things that I think are important. So, this past week, I did 15 epic sandwiches to check out. I also put my 15 Philly restaurant desserts. And they're from places that are being done by Black chefs, white chefs, different chefs all over the city, restaurants, diversifying the list, that's reflecting the great things about Philadelphia. And when I say diversity, not just racial diversity, I'm talking diversity of locations, diversity of style. We have high-end restaurants. We got, budget restaurants that are like really affordable and not as splurgy. We have all types of regions and areas being represented, and I'm really happy about that. And so the lists are going to be updated, reflecting that diversity and extensiveness of the Philadelphia food scene. And it's been really important to me to get in that bag. I feel like I sound like an expert, but I am an expert. But I feel like I'm sound like sounding managerial right now. But I'm serious about it. And so the 2 new freelancers that we brought on board, I think reflect that. And I'm going to let them, in the next couple of weeks or so, surprise y'all with who they are. But, they represent in my opinion, a real good grasp of what the Philadelphia food scene looks like. And a lot of the freelance I've kept on board with the publication, they're coming from different parts of Delaware, Jersey, the suburbs. I want everybody to bring their flavor and their style. I want us to work smarter, not harder. That's my theme. And these people are ready to go. So it's really great to be in a position where I can give opportunities to other writers and other people that I think are doing good, especially in the Philadelphia food scene where there's a lack of diversity and representation and leadership. And so we're going to do things a lot differently over here. And I'm excited to put people on and really, get people on and get people into the groove, because there's so much support and so much good work that's happening. And we just need to make sure these great restaurants are getting coverage that deserve the coverage. You know what I mean? Like it's really important to me. So that's what I've been doing on that front. But this week has been just full of life, PABJ fundraiser was on Sunday at Le Peg. Okay, French Arts is not Le Peg. They don't call it Le Peg anymore. It's the restaurant at French Arts. But we had it outdoors. We was out there on Columbus Boulevard. Super successful event. We raised our goal of succeeding $7,000. Last year, we hit $7,000 for the fundraiser, the scholarship committee. The PABJ scholarship committee raised $7,000 last year. This year, we have surpassed $7,000, and we're still getting donations as we speak. And so it's a super awesome opportunity. If you want to donate and support the scholarship funding committee, please donate to thepabj.org. That's www.thepabj.org. So thepabj.org. Donate there. You can donate as little as $25 or even more to support the scholarship fund. And we'll be taking more donations all through this week before we wrap up, before we start the fourth and final quarter of the year. So that's happening. Great stuff this whole week. Rex at the Royal, I was there, tried it. The new menu is fire. Let me just add that. The new menu at Rex at the Royal is fire. Remember that. That's all I have to say. It is fire. Okay, they are bringing it in. They have a new chef with a new vision, and I am here for it. I've always loved Rex at the Royal, but this right here is serious. So love that. We also have other places, other good things. I went to Zahav with Mr. Johnson and my favorite newlywed couple, Joe and Amanda and Joe, of course, neighbors and also, newlyweds, engaged, soon to be newlyweds. They have not gotten married yet. I am not exposing anything. Sidebar. So while we was at Zahav, before I get it's a petty moment, I had said that I was a follower, but I guess I don't know if the woman couldn't hear me, if I was tipsy, but she thought I said I was a father rather than say I was a follower. She said I was saying a father. And I told her, no. Because you don't really know who in these streets. They be saying, Ernest's about to be a father. No, I don't have a child. I don't plan on having a child at this moment with Mr. Johnson. If such a thing was to occur, you will know before a server at a restaurant knows. No one knew. That's not what happened. So I told her, I said, listen, I don't know if you heard me correctly. I'm not going to be a father. I just was saying I was going to be a follower because I was going to get the same cocktail everybody else got at the table. And she says, whatever, daddy. And I was like, oh, shit. But no, she was hilarious. But we went to Zahav, the four of us, and it was a great dinner. We were celebrating their engagement. We had the patio. Zahav now has a new patio restaurant special that basically allows people who, let's say, look, everybody knows getting into Zahav, the main dining room situation is an arm and a leg. Now, everybody can be as fabulous as myself and get there and get a reservation, work it out. So what they've done is they've opened up the patio space, and it's really clean, neat, spacious, and pretty. And basically, you can go there and you can have dinner there at the patio location, outdoors. And this is no fuss, no frills. There's no advance, make a reservation. You just kind of come through, you kind of call in advance, figure it out, and kind of come the day of, versus all of the intense pre-planning. If you want to do that, you can still do that in a main dining session. But this is just fun, like light door. There's a beautiful spread of all of their delicious Mediterranean bites. I mean, the hummus was phenomenal. Bread was phenomenal. The Gemini pickles that they have on the menu was very special. The cocktails were the bomb. Listen, I had more cocktails than I can count, but the cocktails were very much summer. It feels good. You want to look cute. Don't come in here with a suit. This is patio, y'all. Beach shirts and cute shorts. Polo down. Do what you do. It's a great spot. It was great food. The servers were nice. The hospitality was on point. They had phenomenal cocktails and phenomenal food. It was a great time to be had by all. I've went many times, but what was great about going out with, the newly engaged couple, Joe and Amanda, is that was Joe's first time going. He's from Baltimore. So I think he liked the food. He really did like it. And we made sure that he was able to eat versus any type of allergy and things. And I'm just going to put out a random promotion for people. Just random. But if you have any food allergies, talk to a professional who is in allergies, an allergenist or whatever they call them. People who work on food allergies, they matter. And I'm just talking randomly, but if you go to a restaurant, any restaurant, and you see something, whether it's nuts or it could be, strawberries, whatever the case is, if you have a food allergy, I recommend that you go and talk to an allergenist or a person who focuses on food allergies. Get tested. It matters, okay? Get tested. Know your status when it comes to food allergies. Taste all the different things, but talk to them because you never know what you can't eat or what you can eat. And if you eat something, it might get a little weird. You don't want to have those problems. So do that. And also, if you have a spouse or a lover, let them carry Benadryl. Make sure that Benadryl is always with them. Let them carry all the things in the event that you're out because you just never know what could happen. And that's just my random PSA because, sometimes I do a lot of research and I see things in person. I'm just like, this inspires me to say something. So talk to someone. Get out. If you have a job with benefits and you have resources and you have a loving, caring partner that wants you to be healthy and be good, make sure you get an allergy test, a food allergy test. As a person who has now become in the food industry, I'm an editor at a food publication. I'm going on a lot of things. Many years ago, I did the food allergy test, and it came out that I was not allergic to much, not anything really. But let me tell you something. That don't mean I don't have my aversions to things like ketchup and mustard. But get that. Know that. If you're going to go out and go to restaurants with different dishes and different things, make sure you take a note and let people know that you can't have certain things, but make sure you get the allergy test because maybe there's some things you're not allergic to. Maybe it's mild on some ends, but you need to know that up front because anything can happen, especially if you're not walking around here making sure you have the proper meds and things. You want to roll the dice. Stop rolling the dice, okay? We got to make sure all of our food connoisseurs matter. I hate the word foodies. We don't use foodies over here. We use other things. So our food enthusiasts, we got to make sure they're safe. So make sure that you do get an allergy test. If you haven't gotten one, if you have sensitivity to certain things, make sure you know. PSA over. So it was a great dinner. We had a good time. Joe had a good time. He ate the food. Amanda loved everything. And the thing is that when me and Amanda, many years ago, when we was in college, because the Hive has been around since 2008, y'all. And we was probably 2012, and we went there with a person who stole spices. That's another story for another day. We was there with a spice thief and also Amanda, and we were there. It was a cute little get together. It was the three of us, and we got together, and we had a very lovely time. We went to Zahav before Zahav was popping, before the rest of y'all cared about Zahav and was buying all the reservations. We was there on a Sunday, and no one was in there really. And we had a bunch of great dishes. And it was a very good time. And we didn't even realize that this place was going to be a James Beard Award winning best restaurant in America type of situation. We didn't even know that. But we went and had a fabulous time. And so I think about then and now and just her being able to have that experience again. And she loved it. And Zahav is incredible. So we love Zahav. So in other news, two things. Well, in something that's just really random, I did get the clear see-through Telfar jelly bag. Yes, I did. It is cute. I love it. I thought I was going to, chill out on Telfar because, it was an obsession. I didn't think I was going to need to stock up or get anything, but I ain't going to hold you. It was really nice. The bag it's probably one of my favorite Telfar bags. I ain't going to hold you. I think it's because it's with the Melissa brand. It's really jelly. It's really cute. I love the logo on it. I love I love all of that. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, you know, um, I think it's the texture. I'm looking at it right now as I talk to y'all. It's see through. It smells good. It has a really good smell. And I just love it. I got the medium size. I know they're making various colors. Like there's a pink see through. I got the original see through. And it's one of those things where um, it will work. I could wear it to the link. So if I'm not planning to go to a football game, but I guess if I go to a baseball game, whatever. If I'm going to link again for whatever reasons, clearly I can't wear it to see Beyonce. It's not, I saw Beyonce before the bag came out. But any future concert I plan to go to, I can now rock that to the link, and not have to change and switch out anything, which is great. Also, what I like about this bag is that there are times where the other Telfar bags I have, they're pretty, they're cute, but there are times where I'm just want to run to the store, or I want to run to, quick little mixer. Like I was at the PABJ fundraiser on Sunday, and it was hot outside. I want to go to pool parties, and I want to go places. And sometimes I feel like the bags I do have, they're cute, but I don't want to put them out and get the sun exposure. I don't want to put them all out with all the elements. This see-through bag is now my answer to that, because I don't carry a handgun or anything. So, I don't keep a handgun in the handbag. So there's no need for me to really have to carry anything heavy. But the good thing, the good thing about it is that it's just is really easy go. It's really durable. It's just the perfect bag. So you might see me with my see-through a lot often, depending on what events I'm at. If I'm outdoors and I know I'm gonna be involved in heat, this Melissa bag is coming out. If I'm in a nice formal event that's classy and really, really nice, or something really formal indoors, you're definitely going to see the patty leather. You're going to see the silver, the gold, or whatever I have. But when it comes to this outdoor heat situation, the see-through is my bestie right now. I must say it's a really pretty bag, and Telfar just never miss. So I am a fan of that. I support that. I rock with it. I'm a fan. That's that. So in other great news, before I get into the hot topics that we are so anxious to hear more about, I have some big news. I just, am speechless. I'm happy to announce that I will be at the Brooklyn Book Festival from September 24th to October 2nd is the book festival, but I will be there on Sunday, October 1st. So Libra season, where my Libras at, the kickoff to Libra season. I mean, I know it's a little bit early in September. We don't really count those except Will Smith. But the Libra in me is super excited. I am back in Brooklyn. Brooklyn, y'all can't leave me alone. I will be there October 1st at the 2023 Brooklyn Book Festival. This is one of the most pivotal book festivals in America. It is a dream for many authors. If you're an author in Philadelphia, or in any city really, the Brooklyn Book Festival is a life of its own. I consider it the Tribeca of the book festival scene. It is very important. A lot of important authors go to the Brooklyn Book Festival, and I am one of the featured authors this year, and I am so touched. I'm so honored. When I got the memo a couple of weeks ago from my publicist, I was just like, wow, this is happening, really, me, and not to say that I don't think I deserve these things, because I definitely deserve. But when you're a person that has deserved a lot throughout your life and has been denied a lot throughout your life, when people do make the smart decision to give you what you deserve, it does come as a shock. And that's really what it is. I'm really happy. There's going to be some great authors there that I've loved my entire life. Books I've read, grew up reading. Colson Whitehead, 2-time Pulitzer winner. Colson Whitehead is going to be in the building. Roxane Gay is going to be there. Some celebrity authors like Joe Bear from The View is going to be there. But there's going to be some really important authors and serious writers that's going to be in this space. And to be able to share this space with them, it's just an honor. It is the largest free literary book event in New York. And to be a part of this is awesome. So if you are in New York, if you want to go see me at the Brooklyn Book Festival, come on Sunday, October 1st. I'll be downtown Brooklyn to talk about this book, The Case for Council Culture, which has continued to exceed my expectations and just wow me with the outpour and the energy and the investment. You all who've been listening to Ernestly speaking from the very beginning, you remember when I was in the multiple phases of building up this momentum to this book, and to see it evolve into where we are now has just been, just everything. So I'm just grateful to the Brooklyn Book Festival staff and the board and everybody for thinking of me and considering me for this opportunity. I don't take it for granted. I'm internally grateful, and I just really, just thank you so much. That was quite touching and quite a surprise, and can't wait to see everybody in Brooklyn in October. So tune in for that. So, hot topics. Trump, y'all, is getting close. The headlines are reading that Trump is facing new charges in this documents case. Okay, we're talking about the documents. Apparently, the Office of the Special Counsel accused Trump of seeking to delete that security footage, camera footage at Mar-a-Lago, which is where he resides. The manager of the property, Carlos de Oliveira, was also named as a new defendant. It's getting very messy. So these federal prosecutors basically on Thursday had added major accusations to an indictment charging, former President Donald J. Trump with mishandling classified documents after he left office. Okay, now this is coming from the New York Times. Okay, so this is a reliable source, credible source. They say, quote, presenting evidence that he told the property manager of Mar-a-Lago, his private club and residence in Florida, that he wanted security footage there to be deleted. The new accusations were revealed in a superseding indictment that named the property manager, Carlos de Oliveira, as a new defendant in the case. He is scheduled to be arraigned in Miami. All right? It's looking like Monday, y'all. It's looking like it's going to be the start of the week. Now, he had original indictment last month by the Southern District of Florida that accused Trump of violating the Espionage Act by illegally holding on to 31 classified documents containing national defense information after he lost office. There were so many allegations and charges. Now it looked like he might be getting a third one. There's just so many more things. Like, what is going on? It's hard to keep track. It's hard to keep track, guys. It's hard to keep up with the investments. I mean, there's a trial date set for the Manhattan criminal case. There's a trial date set for the classified documents case. There is an investigation concluding on the January 6th and 2020 election inquiry. We're trying to see if the charge is being filed, but the investigation is concluded, so people are expecting that coming up. There's also an investigation inquiry in Georgia. Now, this is related to efforts to reverse Mr. Trump's election loss in Georgia. The investigation is concluding. Okay, so we have 4 things going on. There's 2 indictments already on the table. There are 2 pending ones coming. One from the federal and one from Georgia that could be potentially happening. Now, let me explain. The charges against him. He has a total of 74 charges currently done. This is combining the Manhattan criminal case with the classified documents case. This is 74 counts. And now we got to see if there's going to be more counts for January 6th and the election inquiry in Georgia. It's getting real. And election day, y'all, as you know, is in November 2024. So we're dealing with a lot with Trump. We're keeping an eye on him. A lot of people are like, why are we talking about Trump? Because, y'all, I have to give it to you. Trump is currently the front runner for the seat. Trump is currently the front runner. The front runner for the Republican primary. Not the front runner for the entire presidency, but for the Republican presidential nomination. He is still the front runner. I don't care about the other candidates y'all talking about. I hear from the streets. Okay, I hear from the streets. So I just wanted to put that out there. Now, in other news, another side, Joe Biden's son isn't looking like he's off the hook just yet. Now, remember, he was taking this plea, trying to, get in where he can fit in when it comes to certain cases. But Biden's son is in a situation right now. He is not over yet. They're saying that as he prepared for the Hill testimony, they're also saying Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, ex-business partner, also trying to fend off jail. So there was a request from, this is according to Politico, the request from a U.S. Attorney's Office is expected to impact Devon Archer's Monday meeting with a House committee. This is Devon Archer is the ex-business partner of Hunter Biden. Now, here's the thing. There is going to be a high-profile testimony to the House committee. Hunter Biden is about to do that. But his longtime business partner, Devon Archer, is wrangling with the Justice Department about when he should report to prison on unrelated charges. Unrelated charges. So there was a jury in 2018 that convicted Archer of 2 felonies for his role in a conspiracy to defraud a Native American tribe. Okay? He fucking with indigenous people, y'all. But apparently, his 2022 sentence has been repeatedly postponed amid a long-running series of appeals. So there's been a lot going on there. Messy, very messy. But let me be clear. Republicans think that Archer, as a key witness in their months-long hunts, have really tried to find a smoking gun to link Joe Biden with the business deals with his son. Because they've been, let's be clear why we care about this, right? Because the Republicans have been trying to have this conspiracy. They're trying to make it seem like President Biden and the business deals of his son, Hunter Biden, are connected. And there has been no evidence. Let me say this again. There has been no evidence that has emerged that Joe Biden's decisions as president or vice president were influenced by his son's business deals. And he has repeatedly denied involvement in his family's business agreements. So there is nothing there as of right now, nothing there. But Republicans are trying to find a scapegoat to take the attention off of Trump and the rest of the problems with the Republican Party. But Biden is, it's a lot going on over here, Even messier, because y'all know I gotta keep 100. The Associated Press said that President Biden openly acknowledged 7th grandchild, the daughter of Hunter and an Arkansas woman. So Hunter Biden been out here doing some stuff he shouldn't have been doing. And now, for the first time publicly, Biden acknowledged his 7th grandchild, this 4-year-old girl who is the daughter of Hunter, with this Arkansas woman named London Roberts in 2018. This is what he said in his statement. Our son Hunter and Navy's mother, London, are working together to foster a relationship that is in the best interest of their daughter, preserving her privacy as much as possible going forward. Now, that's what he said. That's the first time he acknowledged this little girl. He said, quote, "This is not the political issue. It's a family matter," he said. Jill Biden is, First Lady Jill and I only want what is best for all of our grandchildren, including Navy. Now, see, Hunter Biden had a paternity test, a DNA paternity test, after Roberts had sued for child support. And guess what? The two of them resolved the child support issues recently. But Hunter wrote about his encounter with Roberts in his 2021 memoir, which I read. I don't recommend it, but, if you're a nerd and you want to read it, read Hunter Biden's book. I don't know why Hunter Biden wrote a book. I don't know why he wrote a book. But the book is called Beautiful Things, a Memoir, which is basically him talking about, his addiction when he first had, sips of alcohol at a young age. He did a lot. He's 51 years old. He does not beat around the bush. He's very raw. He's very vocal about beautiful things. If you want to read it, you can read it. I don't think it's necessary. But he does get personal. So if you're someone who has dealt with addiction, it could be inspirational. It's an interesting book. But, there's a lot going on. He said that Hunter Biden had said that, he was deep in addiction to alcohol and drugs, including crack cocaine. And he also said that he had no recollection of their encounter. That's how little connection he had with anyone. He was a mess, but it's a mess he's taking responsibility for. So that's how he's placing it. Hunter Biden has 4 other children, including a son named Beau, which was born to Melissa Cohen. He was named after the president's late son, which is his brother, who died of cancer in 2015. leaving behind two children. And many people say that they think that Beau is Biden's favorite son. Listen, we all have a Hunter Biden in the family, and we also have some Beaus in the family, so take it for what it's worth. But this is very messy. A lot's going on. People Magazine had first reported Joe Biden's statement for what it's worth. So a lot of people have been following what's going on. But just expect, just make sure that you expect, just expect to hear about the Bidens, whether it's Hunter or Joe this upcoming week. So Tim Scott and Byron Donalds. So this week, DeSantis has been out here pushing this very anti-slavery rhetoric around, what he's been talking about. Slavery was beneficial to black people. That bullshit. This stuff is so silly that it's just hard to really give it any level of life or attention. But, he's out here doing what he always do. So, he's been having a lot of, DeSantis is thirsty. His campaign is losing momentum. He's thirsty. Tim Scott, who is the only black candidate, I believe, that's seriously running for president. He's on the Republican side. He's a black Republican from South Carolina, senator. People forget that, Raphael Warnock is not and Cory Booker are not the only black senators in the United States government. There is a black man named Tim Scott. There are 3 black U.S. senators. Just want to make sure people keep note. But Tim Scott has been he has been the first presidential candidate to speak out against Ron DeSantis's slavery denial. And, look, he's black. I would say, you should do that. I don't know why that's being considered a big deal. I guess. I don't know. You're supporting abortion, anti-abortion policies. You want to control women's bodies. It's a clock that's, I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. Because, I look at Ann Coulter, and Ann Coulter is a good example. Ann Coulter says a couple of things that might sound appealing to certain people, but then when you look at everything else she supports, she's a contradiction, right? And so with people like that, I'm just like, why are we impressed with the lowest hanging fruit? That's the easiest shit he could have done. Tim Scott saying that slavery exists, we're at the point where now we're celebrating people that's confirming facts. Nah, no, you don't get credit for that. You don't get anything for that. Honestly, you're on the wrong side of history, so you don't get really any credit. But if we was going to entertain the thought, okay, so you said this fact, now what? But it's the same man who has said for a while that there's, America's not a racist country. Okay. But he acknowledges that racism happened. There was a time like 20 years ago when, George W. Bush was president. And Republicans like George W. Bush, even though I'm not giving him any praise anywhere else, at least the man knew slavery existed. We didn't even argue about shit like that. We didn't have these types of arguments. They had other ideals about queer people and women's rights and shit. But the simple things about American history, the simplest things, we didn't argue about. We did not argue about whether or not slavery happened. But see, they keep fucking with black people, and this is when they fuck around and find out. Because here's the thing. It's racism, but it's also anti-blackness. Let's be clear about what's happening. I wonder which one of them, which they shouldn't do, but they're not going to say that the Holocaust didn't happen, because there's a rooted anti-blackness in this Republican Party that cherry picks. But let's also be clear that we do have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has entertained anti-Semitic ideals, and then she had to go back and apologize and correct the record because somebody told her to sit the fuck down. But to my Jewish Republicans, to my black Republicans, to my Latinx Republicans, because I went to Texas and I encountered a couple of Latinx Republicans, and I said to them, how can you align yourself with Trump? And the reality about some of them, because I want to be clear, this is not me saying I'm a monolith, but there are some Latinx people in Texas and across this country that think they are white. And let me be clear, this is ethnicity and race and these are all various different things. So there are white Latinx people that hold that. A good example is Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is a white Latinx person. Now he might try to dismiss that reality, but he is, right? Jeb Bush, is married to someone who's Latinx. They can hold those identities, but whiteness and anti-blackness seeps through those various ideas. And I keep telling people, POC, people of color, I don't really like the older I get, if I'm talking about black people, I'm talking about black people. If I'm talking about black and brown people, I'm talking about black and brown people. I'm really skewing away from people of color. I do use it still in some spaces, but I'm trying not to in direct issues. Like if I'm saying there's mass murders out here or racial disparities in certain systems, if I know that black people hold the majority of that experience, I'm just going to say black people. Because so often black people get erased from a lot of these conversations because in the name of people of color, we still see situations where people say, we have an event of color, but black people are always left out. So I'm very intentional about saying there is anti-blackness, naming it, because I will be in organizations and they'll say, we're diverse, we have people of color, we'll have this, that, and the third. But when I walk in, I still don't see black people. And so to me, we have to be clear as a society that does the Republican Party have a people of color issue? Their policies do, but their voter base seems to be increasingly Latinx. And there seems to be a number of Asian groups that also support them in Republican ideals. Who is out there missing still is black voters and black people specifically. There are some black Republicans, but across the border, we see that black people get disproportionately harmed in a lot of these issues. And then the sad part is you have documented, right, Latinx citizens who do not care about immigration issues and oftentimes are voting against them in areas in parts of Texas and places near the border. So we can't make assumptions about what people's racial identities automatically suggest politically. You have to look at the numbers and the polls. What the numbers do show me is that black women, out of every other demographic in the country, vote largely Democrat. So whatever you do, if you go in a room and you see black women, don't tell them to vote. Don't ask them if they're registered to vote, because 9 times out of 10, they are registered to vote. And let me also tell you that when they do vote, the probability of them voting Democrat is close to unanimous. Don't let Candace Owens, the one loud conservative contrarian voice, represent all black women. And black women don't let her represent them. But for whatever reason, every other community allows some person to be the voice, the counter voice. Black women don't even do that. Black women don't see Candace Owens. You know what's interesting? It just hit me. I had an epiphany. I don't ever hear black women giving Candace Owens any level of thought. Think about it. As you are driving right now or a train or listening, do you see a critical mass of black women that give Candace Owens any attention? And do Candace Owens align herself or engage with black women? No, she don't. She's arguing with black men, cishet black men. She's getting on the nerves of, white progressives and everybody else. But black women don't give her that time or day. They don't see it for her. I wish my black brethren would do the same for these flip-floppity ass wannabe libertarian black conservative voices, the Ice Cubes, the Killer Mikes. We don't get, we sit up here and act like they have to give us their perspective and shit. We don't do that. And as much as, Mark Lamar Hill and I, Dr. Mark Lamar Hill and I have got it in a better place, I just cannot help the fact that he continues to give these Republican type voices entertainment on TV. You're not going to convert them. If you're doing it for ratings, it's lazy. And also, you're giving them a platform for them to shine. And we don't need to give them any more platforms to shine. Until I see Black progressive and liberal voices get on these white cable shows and get a chance to show their ass and show up, stop giving these black conservatives the platforms for them to share their toxic ideals. Because all they're doing is converting and manipulating minds. They're not really learning anything, and they don't want to do better. There's this woman in Baltimore, black woman who's a Republican, something Clacklick. I'm not even going to pronounce her name. I don't even care. She runs around. She did a show it was a campaign video a couple years ago where she was running for another position. She walks in these neighborhoods in Baltimore and talks about how Democrats are to blame for all these different things and how she should be the solution. Here's the problem. I'm okay with people that want to run and criticize the neighborhood. Listen, I could walk down West Philly right now and tell you 1,000 things need to change. But just because there was one particular Democrat, an old head, that didn't do right by voters and the people, does not mean that you're going to convert these people over to being Republicans. I just don't. I think that's the part where I'm like, you can listen to the person and go, So she'll talk and she'll go, Democrats have neglected the community and look at our communities still look the same as they were before. You're like, Look at these neighborhoods. They need cleanup and renewal. We need to care about our streets. Yep. That's why I'm asking you to vote for me who want to fix these issues. Okay, tell more. And we got, And then she goes, and because as a Republican, you lose me there. You lose me there. Because your party, right, has made it very clear that they are anti-black. Your party has made it clear that they're not trying to do anything to better themselves or better black and brown people. And that's when you lose me. So unfortunately, Democrats are living in a society where they're the lesser of evils. They're not great and phenomenal per se, but we know the Republicans are far worse. So therefore, people are often stuck with the lesser of two evils, period. That's just that. So you all have been asking about Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell's doing a lot right now. I don't know what he's going through right now. The streets are talking. People are saying, Nikki Haley, who's run for president, is saying that she thinks Mitch McConnell should step aside amid health concerns. There's videos of Dianne Feinstein and Mitch McConnell questioning about their age. McConnell's office is saying that he will serve through the 2024 as the GOP leader, because it looks like it's turning down. People are saying it's the same old story with aging politicians. Mitch McConnell's future is in debt, the headlines are saying. Mitch McConnell fell earlier this month before freezing mid-sentence this week. That picture we saw, he's got the wheelchair. He's 81 years old, okay? He's an octagonian, He's the old, Senator, Kentucky Republican and top leader in the Senate. But people are asking questions about his health. People say we should be concerned about Mitch McConnell, but he deserves compassion too. I don't know about all that. The Courier Post, the Courier Journal said that. The Los Angeles Times said that. Ciao, bye. Today's show said Mitch McConnell's medical scare renews questions over age limits. There needs to be age limits. Sorry. Gotta say it. And I'm not an ageist for saying it. But, there's a lot of work we can be doing. There's a lot of things we can do as a community. There's a lot of things we can do as a collective. But one of the things that we have to do is be real about getting serious about these ages. Look what happened to the Supreme Court. Look what happened with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Like, look at these people who've been there forever. Personally, I'm from the school that I think that the age limit should be 65. Okay? If AARP say you could get benefits after 65, I think that government should have a limit at 65. I think 65 is it. I think to have people around for 81, 90, all these years, when I think about, Dianne, listen, have y'all seen her age? Dianne, listen, I got to keep it 100. Dianne Feinstein is 90 years old. 90 years old, and she is the oldest sitting U.S. Senator and member of Congress. 90 years old. She has served as the senior United States Senator since 1992 in California. She's been a member of the Democratic Party, okay, when she was mayor of San Francisco in 1978. That's 45 years. What we doing? 90. Okay? 90. She has had literally one, two, three. She's had 3 husbands in her lifetime. She graduated from Stanford University in 1955. I think that it's irresponsible to have people who's dealing with aging and cognitive disorders and disabilities to be putting them through the stress and strain of political life. There are so many issues impacting the country, and we should not put anyone through that type of labor and stress. They have nice pensions. I wish them well. I wish them peace and good health, but it is time. It is time. And I know some of y'all gonna say, well, what about Biden? Listen, Trump and Biden not that far from each other in age. In a perfect world, we have time limits. We need to have an age limit at 65. That's my stance. I'll compromise at 70, but I think 65 should be it. My opinion. Just putting it there. Now, a lot of you all, the backup real quick, Byron Donalds, y'all want to know who Byron Donalds is. Earlier, Byron Donalds was the first person to criticize. He's a black congress member in Florida, a huge Trumper. Before Tim Scott had said something about the issue pertaining to DeSantis' policies on slavery, Byron Donalds stepped up and also spoke out against DeSantis as well. Just want to note that for the record. It's been 2 black Republicans that are notable, Congressman Byron Donalds and Senator Tim Scott. Just want to put that on the table. Now, about Krasner and these rumors. Y'all been asking about Krasner and these rumors. Y'all, I don't, listen, I don't like rumors that aren't like rooted in something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like dumb rumors. Rumors that just like, okay, it's one thing when you hear some stuff, but you're hearing it from top experts and credible sources. Let me get into this, what happened. There was a bogus resignation rumor that started last week. You know, there was a news release that stoked speculation, and this is coming from the Philadelphia Inquirer and other publications, but there was a news release that came out across the state that implied that, you know, Krasner was planning to resign. And this is during the time in which we know that the GOP lawmakers in Harrisburg had tried to revive the case to impeach him. They have applied for an appeal. And you know, I guess the summer has been ripe for juicy rumors. I've been hearing a lot of rumors lately, but none that is worthy of me speaking into existence or speaking out loud. But, you know, I guess because it's a summer and it's a slow fucking news season, we get all these stupid rumors, okay? So first of all, you know, Larry Krasner's back in the news. There was this bogus quote-unquote news release that was saying that he was leaving his role as DA for a new job. All the week, everybody was talking, and, you know, people kept hoping it was true because there was supposed to be this big, huge press conference because it was trash. And so Krasner told the Inquirer this past week, "You are stuck with me. I actually love my job. I like what I'm doing." And this is this person, someone that was supposed to be a woman named Abigail Sinford Fakor, or whatever her name was. They were saying, declare in this news release being passed around that Krasner would become the executive director of the National Lawyers Guild. And this rumor, they said in the press release, it was bullshit. Because if you look at LexisNexis, we do database searches on everything. Journalists do, the Inquirer do, anybody. LexisNexis is our database. We all use this database to find out facts and confirm details. But basically, this person said in this fake press release that we look forward to raising the profile of the NLG under the leadership of Larry Krasner, this press release said. Well, that isn't true because NLGJ's president, Suzanne Outerly, had told the Inquirer, quote, "The press release was not issued by the National Lawyers Guild or anybody formally affiliated with the National Lawyers Guild. Larry Krasner is not currently and is not expected to be the NLG executive director or president, nor is he a member of NLG." It was a rumor. So all that whispering and I heard, somebody told me, it's not true, y'all. It's a rumor. And if this is the first time you've heard this, please let people know. Now, to be clear, I'm not crazy about Krasner, some of Krasner's business. I have voted for Krasner, and I'm not supporting Republicans by at all. But I always tell people, just because you don't like somebody, don't let confirmation bias put you in a position where you're spreading misinformation just to be relevant. We don't do that over here, period. So I'm here to tell you it's not true. He's going to be there. Now, if he decides to do something else in 2025, that's different. But as of right now, we're here with Krasner, and Krasner's here with us, and we stuck with him. And listen, I don't feel like I'm stuck with him, but, hold them accountable, y'all. Look at the DAs that they're hiring. I don't know. Be smart. But, stop the rumors. It's not a rumor. It has no truth to it. And there's a lot of people out here in quote-unquote media claiming to entertain it. Dom Giordano, who is on 1210 WPHT-AM talk show. I've come on this show in the past, but he's apparently he was hyping it up on social media about this potential departure. And I know a lot of people don't like Krasner, but it's why are we doing this to our credibility? None of this is true. He said that, he did allow for the possibility the rumor could not be true, but of course he wanted to put the blame on Krasner. He said on his show, I can't tell. This could be fate by Krasner playing with everybody. But why would Krasner play with anybody? Why would Krasner even do this? None of this has any roots or no truth in it. Krasner has told people already that, it's a decision that he will not face until the end of the year. So at the end of this year, Krasner will decide whether or not he's going to run for re-election or not. He said it's not a pressing matter at this time for him. Now, I ain't going to say into the problem. Let me be quiet. I had a thought, but I'm going to say that for later. Don't want to put that out there until you know. I don't want to put an idea or a theory because, I know how y'all listen to this show and you start, having thoughts. Not going to put that in the universe. Just going to see some stuff play out into next year's primary. But I will say that if he did not decide to run, I have somebody who she encouraged to run. But I'll leave that there. So the 76ers place, the controversy between Chinatown and 76ers place has been officially 1 year old. And there's a great piece written by a good friend of mine at Philadelphia Magazine, Laura Schwartz, who's my great pal, my bestie. She wrote a great piece for Philadelphia Magazine about it. It came out on Sunday. It's a long form, and it's really in depth. And it talks about 76ers place 1 year later, about what's going on. And in a nutshell, what we find is that there's still no consensus on what's going to happen. We really still don't know. They have not figured it out. Chinatown, 76th place, there's just been no consensus on bringing people together in the community to figure out what's next. There's been a lot of questions, a lot of speculation, a lot of lobbying across the end politically, but we still don't know. We don't know where people, we know where some people stand, but with a new city council coming in, we don't know how those votes are going to go. It's still up in the air. And I know that must piss David Alman off. But see, this is your fault, billionaire, because you come in here with this colonialist mindset of, I know what the community wants. And there's been a very big old vast of darkness. And the pandemic made everything so lonely. And I'm going to just put a brand new stadium and it's going to push people out and fuck over parking. It's that type of thinking that ruins everything, right? So we don't know how this is going to play out. But I feel like the fact that there's so much fighting and ambiguity around it, I think that's grounds to kill it. But I do know that the likes of Sherelle Parker most likely is in favor of something like this. So that might sway a little bit, but I'm not convinced 100%. So in other news, Twitter is now going by X. That's right. It's just X. X. And it's not a retweet anymore, y'all. It's a repost. I'm not playing these games with Twitter. I'm not playing these games with Elon Musk. I'm at a point where every week I expect him to pull a new stunt, something stupid, just to fuck with people, just to try to get attention and relevance and raise gossip and spice and interest. But to be honest, this ain't the way to do it, Elon. This ain't the way to do it, dog. This ain't it. I'm not a fan of this. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I really don't like this new concept. But he keeps throwing stuff there. I'm still calling it Twitter. I'm not calling that shit a repost. It's a fucking retweet. This X shit gonna go away, hopefully. I just can't wait till the new CEO comes in place in the fall. I can't wait till they just turn everything back to normal. Like, this is just stupid. This is all stupid. It's pointless. And it's so annoying because, like, when I try to find Twitter on my tabs, the new X thing is so ugly looking that I forget that I don't see a blue logo. It's fucking with me. It's just ruining everything for everybody just for no reason. Like, he's so annoying. So, it is what it is. I'm going to still call it Twitter because that's what the fuck it is. Next. So there's been this conversation. I don't really want to get into all of it, but everybody's been talking about aliens and UFOs. Are they real or are they not? There's been a press conference. An person who worked for special intelligence is claiming that UFOs exist. Duh. Everybody's all acting scared and freaking out. What is that word by, what's it? REM. It's the end of the world. And who cares? I mean, listen, it's just too much. I mean, it's hot as fuck in this country, in the world. Global warming is losing it's just doing what it's doing. Climate change. We knew this was real. We knew this was coming. We knew this was going to happen. I just, it's so funny to me because everybody's like, oh, UFOs are real, and people are like believing UFOs are real. But do y'all know that, climate change is real? Are we going to act on that? Because we could act on a lot of things. Do we know that racism exists? We could act on that. Don't come here talking about some UFOs exist to me when you could believe that. Because he has evidence, but there's evidence that climate change exists, and y'all don't read that shit. There's evidence that Meg Thee Stallion isn't lying, and not lying, but you don't care about the evidence. There's evidence that slavery exists and the Holocaust exists, but you don't care about that. There's a lot of evidence out there for a lot of things. There's evidence that an increase in LGBTQ rights does not lead children turning gay, but whatever. There is an increase in reality that two same-gender people getting married and loving each other does not have no material impact on your fucking cishet marriage. None. So, yeah, it's a lot of things that have evidence, but people choose to pick what evidence they want to read and what they don't want to read. So, there we have it. Now, I got to give a shout out to Viola Davis. There's been a lot of talk about the writer's strike. Here's an update. Or an actor's strike. Actors are on strike, okay, with SAG-AFTRA. The Emmys will not be airing on September 18th. The Primetime Emmys. The Primetime Emmys, not other Emmys that may be going on. But the Primetime Emmys will not be airing on the 75th annual Primetime Emmy Awards will not be on September 18th. We don't know when they're going to air, but they will air because it's the 75th anniversary, which makes it a big goddamn deal. They cannot skip this year because it's the anniversary year, so they have to do it. I've been hearing from sources close to the situation that the Emmys want to have it in November, but network stations, according to Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, and these other publications have been talking about it, they want to have it in January. But I think the hard part is if you have it in January, you expect the Emmys to take place in September. And if there's 2 Emmy Awards in 1 year, that might just confuse consideration and everything else. So that could get a little sticky. I don't know where I stand on it. But at the end of the day, it all determines on if the writer's strike and the actor's strike is going to get enough energy to get a deal by then. Because right now, we don't know. So Viola Davis is in a film that got waivers, independent film that she's doing with Amazon. But in solidarity with the actors on strike, she refused to keep filming. So there has been some exemptions and waivers given to certain films and projects if they're independent in a certain type of way. But some people would still consider that scabbing. So Sarah Silverman, who I don't listen to for anything, but she made a really good point where she's like saying like all these like actors, these Hollywood actors who are in these indie type of films that want to still produce their films, they're taking these little waivers, it's cowardly, she feels, because she's like, you need to be in solidarity, and at the end of the day, the whole point is to do a real strike to make these studios have to pay. Asking for waivers it weakens the overall thing, and Viola Davis gets this, and even though they got a waiver, she's not doing it. Shout out to Viola Davis. Thank you for taking a stand. But let me tell you, some people out here like The Rock, Rock out here doing some big things, There's been chatter that he is dropping some big bank to really push about it. it's some chatter that he might be putting some money down to really stop some of this, to really pay actors or keep production going on some of his movies. That's what some people are saying. But I haven't. I mean, I've heard whispers about this because he is worth a lot of money. He is worth a lot of money. Now, from what I'm hearing, it seems like he might be, but we don't know. But there's some speculation that he was going to pour in some money to really help some of the stuff going on. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But right now I'm in solidarity with the strike. I think the strike, is a wake up call because really it's laying the foundation for what's happening across the country. So when we see other, major cities, major industries outside of Hollywood stepping up to speak out against this type of stuff, it sends a message loud and clear that this isn't it. So, just putting it out there. Celebrity divorces. It's been a summer of celebrity divorces, I must say. We have seen, a lot of divorces, and it's been hard, some of these divorces. But the big one that shocked me, clutched in my pearls, didn't see it coming. Tina and Richard Lawson. Tina Knowles, Beyonce's mother, and Richard Lawson, who is a soap opera actor, but he's also the father of Bianca Lawson, the ageless, beautiful black actress who was in Queen Sugar. Okay, she was also in Save the Last Dance, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's a big deal. She's in a lot of shows. She was in Saved by the Bell, The New Class, Good Behavior, Pretty Little Liars. She was in Rouge. She's from the Gordy family. Okay, let's talk about it. Denise Gordy and Richard Lawson were married. She has a brother named Ricky Lawson, who's a songwriter. What's funny is that, he is the stepsister. So Richard Landon Lawson is basically his stepsister. Beyonce's stepsister was Bianca Lawson. And Ricky Lawson was the stepsister. He is best known for co-writing on Beyonce's songs Heated and Summer Renaissance. He is the stepsister Beyonce for that album Renaissance, right? And he also done a lot of projects for her Parkwood Entertainment, such as working on the visuals for Chloe and Haley's Ungodly Hour visual. Did y'all know that? The more you learn. So here's some of the projects he's worked on with Ricky Lawson, okay, which is the son of Richard Lawson, which is the brother of Bianca Lawson from the Gordy family, okay, because their mother is a Gordy. And if you don't know what I mean by Gordy, okay, let me back up a little bit for those who don't know who Gordy is. Gordy is Berry Gordy, as in Motown founder Berry Gordy. Denise is a niece. The mother, Denise Georgette Gordy, is the niece of Motown founder Berry Gordy. You see how ancestral the music industry is? But but to back up, let me say these other projects Ricky was on. So he worked on Bigger, co-wrote that song for The Lion King, The Gift, Heated, and Summer Renaissance, which I love Heated. Heated is my shit off Renaissance. Summer Renaissance is cool too, but Heated, woo, that's my shit. So he also worked on Ungodly Hour as a project management AR credits for Chloe and Haley on Ungodly Hour. He also worked alongside Beyonce on The Lion King, The Gift, Black is King, Savage Remix, Renaissance World Tour. Ricky Lawson is in the family and also connected to the Grammy nomination for Album of the Year for Renaissance. So look, Ricky Lawson is doing his thing. But let's get to Bianca Lawson. You know her. She's gorgeous. She's fabulous. She's on this incredible show. She kills it. Her character in that film is Darla. She was Darla Bourlon, who was, of course, with Ralph Angel. She was his lovely, lovely wife. She was in Teen Wolf, Vampire Diaries, The Secret Life of American Teenagers. Let me tell you about Bianca Lawson. She's 44 years old, but she's been playing teenagers her entire career, which is no shade. Get the money, baby, and black don't crack. But she is a fascinating person. But the father, let's get to the tea about Richard Lawson and Tina. I don't have no idea why they divorced. We don't know. They just filed for divorce, and the streets have been talking. And there's been signs apparently that they had problems. Now, because I love research, I'm going to play you all a couple of interesting clips that may have shown that the writings are on the wall. Tune in here. Let me play it.
Type of man I wanted. I prayed for the type of man I wanted, and I got pretty much that. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. But, he has a lot of the qualities. He has a lot of the qualities that I love, and we're having a really good time, and I'm enjoying life. So there is hope, women, ladies. Type of man I...
Woo! The rise was on the wall. She had to let them know he's not perfect, and he looked like no. Now, did you hear him in the background saying no? He said no. The streets was walking. They were talking about this Richard Lawson. Why was there problems? Did we know there was problems? What was going on? Why was she saying this about him? Why was she calling him out? It was interesting to see that clip. But was it that big of a deal? No, because none of these people are perfect. Nobody's partners is perfect. I don't know why people have to say if the person's perfect or not. If they're good for you, they're good for you, baby. You don't need to do all that extra. But Miss Tina has said some things. Now, let me get into the mess that's been going on, the tea that's been going on since the situation. One of the issues that happened is that apparently he has now deactivated his Twitter, Richard Lawson, because there had been some people who have looked and scrolled down and saw him liking a lot of inappropriate, highly sexual posts from other women, whether it was adult entertainment. And listen, there's no judgment. You don't know what kind of relationship they had. Maybe it was something that was sexual. Maybe it was not. We don't know what was causing a lot of the things that we were seeing and, what was going on. Maybe it had I don't want to say that open relationship. I don't know. But it was very, the posts in question were very, suggestive that he was liking, and who knows? Did that play a factor? We don't know. Also, earlier, about a month ago, a couple of weeks back, there was an interesting, disturbing robbery at the Knowles residence, where they said Tina Knowles, her safe, her safe where she keeps some valuable things, over $1 million worth of items in her safe. They said it got taken out and robbed from her house. And of course, when a safe is taken out and robbed from one's residence, and it appears to be done in a way that doesn't seem to be a massive burglary, it looks like an inside job. And one has to then question, well, who was in that house? Who had access to that? Kind of like Beyonce's mother's house got robbed. That's just really weird. Now, I'm not saying that it's correlated to her breakup with Richard Lawson, but it just seems like, our one of our favorite, Hollywood mothers have had it hard in the last couple of weeks. So, you have this safe stolen a couple of weeks back. You're in a divorce. And then we find out that the man that you're with was liking a lot of interesting hypersexual types of pornographic imagery on his Twitter account in a way that is public. That is saying a lot. So, I'm not judging or saying people should think a certain way or whatever, but I must say it is quite an interesting situation to be in when you have that many people, together. So, not judging, just observing and looking at things and noticing some things. And I use common sense over here. I wasn't born yesterday. But I will tell people that, when you're out here in these streets and you're in this world, it might be of the essence to start thinking about what are you looking at, and what you following. So I was looking at this page, and it was some very interesting footage. And they was looking at what he was liking, and I said, "Oh, very interesting." You know, um, mm. And the interesting thing too is Matthew Knowles was a mess too. Richard was one thing. Matthew Knowles was another thing. I'm not saying she should go back with Matthew, because Matthew clearly has a lot of problems. But I will say that it is very telling what be going on, what drives people to do the things they do, and why. So I'll leave it there. So I want to talk about this. I had a really, 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 really great Ask Ernest, and I really want to take the time to read it. I got it hot, hot, hot. Like, before I started getting into doing this podcast, to make sure that you all get in a timely fashion, I was very surprised to get this message from a listener who's a big listener, and they had asked me some questions. They had this, and I want to make sure I pull it up to read it, because when I saw this, I was like, "Oh, okay, interesting. This is interesting reach." But I want to read it for you all because I think this is important. Okay. Hi, Mr. Owens. Hope all is well. I had a question for the podcast. Me and a friend / situationship that's been going on for a year and some months are going to Renaissance next week. 2 weeks ago, we went on a quick weekend trip to the beach. It was his idea to get a room. It was a really good weekend. So when we got back home, I asked him what were we doing and if he could see a future with me. In the moment, he said yes, but could we take it slow? And I said I could. 5 days later, I get a text in the middle of the night saying that he just wanted to be friends and that he didn't want to lead me on. At this point, I'm kind of confused and hurt. I haven't seen him or talked to him since that conversation, other than small talk. But it is what it is. My question is, would I be an asshole for not wanting to go with him to see Beyonce? I'm his only way there. Woo! Woo! This is woo, 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 woo. I won't say your name, and you're very adorable, by the way. Nice photos, and you deserve. This is tight. This is very, very tight. Oh my goodness, so tight. I definitely took some time to reflect on your question. I do appreciate your candidness and everything. It's a very good question. And I appreciate it. And I won't name you, of course, because, we keep it, anonymous over here on Ask Ernest. But this is a very, very good question. Okay, so the pettiness in me would be like, child, fuck him. Fuck him and do you. And he got to go find his own way. So that's the question I would have. But this is what I will say. Okay. It was his idea to get the room. I don't want to be nosy and ask that y'all have sex, because that does complicate things. Because if y'all did do it, I can see your frustrations. It wasn't your idea. You said y'all went on a weekend trip. It was his idea to get a room. It was a really good weekend. So when you got back home, you asked him what y'all was doing, and could you see a future? So clearly he must have had sex or did something sexual. I'm just going to assume. I could be wrong. Or you did something intimate, clearly. The vibe was there. And he did tell you that he did see a future. Then all of a sudden it did retreat back. So let me say how I feel about this. Could y'all go to the concert together or whatever? Y'all plan this, and clearly you're the only way for him to go. So here's what I'm going to say. There's two sides of me. There's the bad side and there's the good side. The bad side of me was saying the evil twin side of me, like, fuck him, do you? That's not your problem. He wasted your time, bitch. Blah, 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 blah. But because I see this a little differently and it took me some time to process this, I'm going to go with my other side. And this is what I think you should do based on what you've told me. So let me back this all the way up. It seems like, based on what you said, y'all had a friendship. Y'all were first friends. Y'all were cool. Y'all had a friendship going on for a year and some months. You know, you all have had a really good situation and it was never any emotions or anything sexual. You might have had a crush on him and maybe, you know, he didn't know that or whatever, but y'all was friends and y'all had a cool connection and something happened, right? One weekend and you got your hopes up and your feelings up. But let me say this to you. Y'all have been friends for a long time, you know, for about a year. Y'all have been cool. It's been a cool situation. And honestly, you've been doing you, he's been doing him. It is what it is. Y'all had a weekend where something went down, okay? And at the end of the day, you know, you asked and he said he could take it slow. You accepted that, right? You could have said, nah, I don't know if that's good enough for me, but you said okay, right? And then he turned around and thought about it a little bit more and said, you know, he just kind of want to be friends. We don't know why he just want to be friends. Maybe you was getting a little too, maybe even though he said you got a little bit, you know, you was falling in love a little strong and you have a right to. I'm not denying that. I've been there. Maybe it just felt all too once. Maybe he just was scared that maybe doing this was going to ruin the friendship and maybe ruin everything. And he really wants a friend. Maybe he's not in the place to. Let me tell you something about dodging bullets. Because a lot of times we can't dodge bullets. Sometimes stuff is so much in our face, we're so naive, we wait later. If he's telling you, for whatever reason, that he just want to be friends, don't deny that. Listen, I've learned in life, don't force nothing. If he is telling you that, that means he's looking at himself and knowing something about himself that maybe you don't know. Or maybe there's a situation that you don't need to be caught in the middle of. And maybe he cares about you so much that he don't want to put you through whatever other shit he got going on. Because remember, before y'all did that weekend trip, he might have a situation. Maybe you know about, maybe he don't. But maybe he had a whole world that got weird. And then in a moment of his feelings and emotions, he made promises or said things that at the time felt good. But then when he was honest with himself and maybe considering you, he might have said to himself, you know what? It was a fun moment. I got caught up. We was having a moment. And now I'm in a situation where maybe, I mean, to get in a relationship, you know, when you get with somebody and you get in a relationship with them, when you start really getting serious, the person that you're friends with might be a great friend, but they're not a good lover. And so maybe y'all are good friends, but maybe he's not meant to be a lover in that way. Maybe you might want that because what you like in him as a friend is going to be different as a lover. There's people that in my past that I looked at and I was friends with them and I was like, oh, this person would be good if I dated them. I'm like, no, you as a date, you were trash. There's dudes I knew years ago where I would just be like, as a friend, you're an incredible friend, but you're a horrible husband. You're a horrible boyfriend. You were horrible to people. You great for me, but you're going to be bad for them. And sometimes you got to look at that and know the difference. And so what you're seeing in this person is you want to date your friend. Not everybody can date somebody that they're friends with in a way that it feels like that. You know what I'm saying? And if y'all really establish a friendship with boundaries and one night cross that boundary, I would say if you're in a position to let go of the situation because of that confusion, I don't know. I don't say I don't want you to torture yourself, but I think that it shouldn't be so quick to cut everything off and end everything at that, because then it makes it seem like you was capped the whole time. You was fraud the whole time. You was only with that person to get to an end, to a means. And I don't like people like that, because I done seen people be friends with girls. Oh, this used to happen to my friends for years, where they be nice to the dude will be nice to the girl and say he a friend, and then he get a little tipsy, a little comfortable, and then finally he want to make a move, and she in the moment, and she bored, and she be bored in the moment, do some dumb shit, and wake up and be like, you know what, I should never did that because you was bored and you was horny, and you was making some dumb decisions. That happens. What I'm asking, and I'm putting on to you to consider is this a situation where you feel like whatever that feeling, that hurt that you feel, that this should just kill everything? Fuck him for life. I feel like y'all been friends for too long for you to throw it in the garbage. I really think what you should do is use the Renaissance situation as an opportunity to follow up and have that conversation. And so I have a theory about this, and it might be a little nasty, but I have a thought. So part of me feels like, in some sense, y'all gonna go to the Renaissance thing. You're gonna have fun again. He needs a friend right now. You want him as your friend. Don't act like you don't like him as a person outside of this situation. But like, maybe it's a situation where y'all go as friends and you there. And clearly he wants to still be friends with you. Clearly he still likes you. Respect the consent and the boundaries. Maybe, or should there be a punishment? Didn't regret it all. So that be the thing? I don't know. I think, but here's my plan. Go to Renaissance with him. Be a good friend. Exhibit good behavior. You don't know what he's going through. You don't know what could be happening. Get to the bottom of the situation. No pun intended. But get to the bottom of the situation. Come out on top. But go to the concert, have a good time, live your life, have it with your friend. You don't want to go by yourself. You don't want to do that like that. And you don't want to be, because in the back of your mind, if you don't bring him, you being mean, you know that it's going to be on your mind the whole time at the concert. So go with him, because that was the plan. Have a good time. And then after the show, don't go to a private room with him. Don't get a room with him, because clearly it's giving. It's giving. Don't do that. Or if you do, I'll talk about my other theory. But anyway, just hang out with him, have the conversations as a friend. Say, hey man, just want you to know, I just want to know more about, your thoughts and your feelings. Don't do it before the show. Don't kill your vibe. Hey, he might bring it up to you. He gonna bring it up to you. He's probably gonna be surprised that you are so graceful as you are. But figure out the answer. This is the opportunity to get some conclusion. Don't let it be an empty note, because then you're going to regret everything. And then 2 months later, you're going to call him horny and do it again and be in this love affair, situation. Get the answers you need at that concert, not before the concert, after the concert, and figure out from that information if it's valid enough for you to stick with him and be cool with him, or if you're ready to drop him like a bad habit. But don't let this just collapse. That's too much time invested. And I mean, and also it sets a bad precedence, right? We tell people, be honest with me, be straightforward. He's not wasting your time. He's telling you this early. So you shouldn't get too invested, because it's like it's still fresh. So the wound is not that long where it can create an infection. Get this addressed. Let it do what it's gonna do. And have the conversation, I think, after. Now, if he brings it up, then he can say what he's gonna say. But honestly, it's obvious he doesn't want you out of his life. And I don't really think you're 100% want him out your life. And I don't feel like it should be because of one interesting night, So you can DM me privately. I am very much so invested in this. I'm very much so invested in this. So please hit me up privately and tell me what happens. But I have another theory. I have a theory, and again, I don't want to get your hopes up, so don't get your hopes up on this theory. But I wonder if it's a situation where he just getting some cold feet. Y'all go to the concert, you talk to him, and then y'all figure out that whatever it is, maybe a misunderstanding. Y'all work it out, and then you have another night with him, and maybe y'all get some resolutions. Because this is a throwback for me. I've had an interesting situation where people be assuming things about you that they don't know, and then y'all start finding out some things, and things work itself out. Might be a little too close for home, but I'm just saying, sometimes people can assume things, and then you find out something, y'all talk it out, and you realize, oh, okay. You never know. But in any case, I think you should just figure this out more, and I don't think you should, do a 180, because I don't want you to hurt your reputation of who you are as a person behind this situation. Beyonce brings people together. Maybe it took a Beyonce concert for y'all all be together for there to be some resolution. Well, let's figure it out. As far as movies go, I haven't really done too many movies. My life has been a movie, to be honest, no shade. So I haven't really watched too many movies this upcoming week. I heard about the Haunted Mansion from Disney. I don't know why they're putting this scary ass spooky movie out in the summer. Like, this should come out in like October, like Halloween season. Like, I don't know why they dropped this now. It just is bad timing, bad marketing. I just feel like they just had to get rid of the film or just push it somewhere. They're like really setting this movie up to not be big at the box office. It's just kind of like they threw it in there. Disney's been having an interesting time. I mean, they didn't do too well at the weekend box office. I've been following, weekend box office has been going on. I mean, it's interesting. Barbie is still on the top of the charts. Barbie made another $93 million this fucking weekend. It is now $350 million. It almost had like last week, let's just go back a little bit. Last week, it made $162 million. And then Oppenheimer made $82 million last weekend, okay? The Barbieheimer situation is still slaying at the box office. Last week it made its debut was $162 million, $82 million for Oppenheimer. This week they back again. Oppenheimer this time made $46 million, which is still not bad. And Barbie made $93 million a second fucking week. Like, what? They're saving the box office. Who would have thought a female-led film would save the box office? So Haunted Mansion came in at $24 million as its opening gross. That is not good, Walt Disney Studios. Not for a film with that much budget and money. Not really good. This stupid movie, Sound of Freedom. Don't tell me about Sound of Freedom. I don't care. Sound of Freedom made $12 million, dismal, but it's making some crazy money. It's been keeping the box office afloat for a while. People really do like Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom has been consistent. It debuted at number 3 on the box office mojo charts. Mission Impossible has been doing its thing. It came in at $54 million for Tom Cruise a couple weeks ago, but it's been stayed at the box office doing its thing for a little bit. It debuted at number 1, and then it was at number 4. This week it's at number 5. It's just floating around the charts. But yeah, it's been an interesting, year. A lot of horror movies coming out. It's just a weird box office season in general. Music. I've been following this song "Jealousy" by Offset and Cardi B. I mean, Cardi B is out here doing her thing. I've really been, I know everybody wants a new album. Good. Joe, Amanda's fiance, my interesting future stan. Co-stan, I would say, because I stand for future too. Judge your cat, don't judge me. But what I will say is that he says he has a theory that Cardi's not dropping an album. He doesn't think Cardi's ever going to drop another album. He thinks all she's going to keep doing is just doing these singles and these features that, for whatever reason, she just can't do an album. That's his theory. I'm not going to argue with him on his theory, but theories can always be unproven. I don't know. So far, it looks like he's right. I just need the album, Cardi. Give me the album. Give me the manuscript. So, I'm having a moment here, but let me rock. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this quickly. There's been some controversy with Ice Spice. No, not because she's hanging out with Nicki Minaj, but because she just dropped a new music video to a song called Deli. And there's a 16-year-old girl twerking. So much that Twitter, or X, had to drop a disclaimer letting people know that there is an underage girl in this video being sexualized. And certain states will not permit that. My thoughts about this is, why? Why? She's 16 years old. Why is she twerking in a music video? Where are her parents? I'm not a fan of it. Call me a prude. But no. Because my whole thing is, so we're making this girl famous. She has an Instagram. She technically shouldn't have one because you must be 18 or to have these social media apps. But anyway, she's going to have an Instagram or social media account. What are we doing? What are we selling? This girl should be in school, finishing high school, okay? She should be finishing high school, getting her degree, her bachelor's. No, she's not in college. She should be getting her diploma, right? Finishing school. I'm not saying kids can't dance, but my thing is, if kids are dancing by themselves and having fun amongst themselves, but for consumption, for mass consumption. So listen, we all grew up, when I was young, I was going to my little basement parties, I was dancing, having a good time, but I was having fun with minors my age, and we weren't on music videos with grown-ass adults sexualizing us and putting us on there. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's problematic, and also, she's on a set twerking in front of other grown men, and I'm not saying that I'm blaming her and slut-shaming the girl. I'm talking about these adults who thought it was okay to have her in that setting. And I don't care if Ice Spice is a young poppin' artist, whatever. Ice Spice is a grown woman. Get you some 20-year-olds, get you some 19-year-olds, get you some grown-ass adults to be in the video with you. Don't put minors in a situation where they're out there for that kind of consumption. Because when, this is how shit get real, right? A grown-ass man want to put on an Ice Spice video and say, oh, these girls are hot. He does not expect those girls to be minors. So you're creating a culture where young people are sexualized and put in harm's way. Not cool, not for it, and I don't want to hear none of your little arguments about it. It's just trash. She's a minor, she's underage. Ice Spice, no spice. Okay? Not cute. As far as TV goes, Bad Boys Texas has now left the building. There's no more Bad Boys Texas right now. We don't know when there's going to be another Bad Boys series. But I must say, I've really been in love with Love and Hip Hop. I keep saying this every week, but this season has been consistently good. I'm really following some of the storylines. But I must say, this girl, something Erica Banks, not so quite. She's a little annoying for me. Now, Erica Banks is the girl who had that popular song called Bust It. The little beat, it's a little jam. She got a couple of little songs. She's a female rapper. She's not that big, but she's gotten notorious, get on social media talking about other stars that are bigger than her and trying to size herself up to these other girls. Not smart at all. But she has been, on this show, and I'm just trying to figure out what's her purpose. You watch a reality show and you like it and you're like, okay, this is cool. But then you start getting into the actors or the people, not actors, but, well, they'd be actors sometimes. But you're just kind of like, why are they here? What's their purpose? What are they bringing to the show? I just don't get it. She's that person for me. Like, I just don't get what she's bringing to this show. But, I guess, right? But Jocelyn's Cabaret. Jocelyn's Cabaret is live, is on, is popping. I love it. I can't hold you. I know that she's problematic, but we all have a problematic fave that we'll deal with. Jocelyn's Cabaret has been a transformational show. Like, they're now in New York. She is singing. She just performed a song, and she said it's the first time she did a performance without having any drugs or substances. She's working on her sobriety. I don't know how effective it's been since, we saw that epic, brawl she had last month. But I will say there is something to be said for the fact that she's consistently putting out this music. She's embracing, she's having, the show is it's just a good show. I know. It's a good show. I know people feel like, I should elevate my taste, but, to each their own. Sometimes it's good to watch a reality show like this because it can just take you out of your element, I have been watching Crazy in Love, but I don't want to promote the show because I'm not, I have some concerns about the show and I'm not, there's just it's just too much going on that show. Not enough for me to feel completely, convinced with what's going on. But it's a lot of stuff that's been happening and I'm just like, no. So, yeah, I'm not promoting this show that's by, it's called, what is the name of the show? It's called Crazy in Love and it's with Blueface and what's her name? That's why I shouldn't be watching it. But Blueface is on the show, the rapper who had the show Tatiana, and Christian Blue, who's his girlfriend, who has a song that's more fly than his, and it's hurting his insecurities. The song, it's a vibe. It's a vibe all the time. Great song. But no, long story short, I'm just observing it. So, this upcoming week, it's a week of food. I'm going out and trying some new spots and having some fun with food this upcoming week. But of course, I have to address the elephant in the room. Not really elephant at this point. But here's some things I want y'all to know because this is all going to go down before the next episode of Ernestly Speaking. So, I definitely want to talk to y'all about it and let y'all know what's going on in these streets. So, as you all know, this week is the NABJ convention. This is my first NABJ convention in nearly how many years? 7 years? I've gone consecutively. This is the first convention that I'm not going to because as you all know that earlier this year I was banned. If you want to know more about the details about that particular situation from NABJ, please listen to the special edition of Ernestly Speaking, season 4, my unprecedented ousting from NABJ, that episode. Go back and listen to it in its totality. It's less than an hour long, and I talk all about that and all about that episode alone, about the tea with it. So I have nothing to do with, I'm not going to tell all that story, but I want to bring it on to perspective what I'm about to bring up now. So this week, the NABJ convention is taking place in Birmingham, Alabama. It's going to be some interesting journalists from across the country that's going to be there. NABJ right now, the National Association of Black Journalists, is in controversy. There's a lot of headlines going about this convention. For starters, about 2 weeks ago, it came out that the National Hispanic Association of Hispanic Journalists at NABJ, right, normally have joint conventions. Last year they had one in Vegas. Before that, they had it in DC. 2024 was supposed to be the year to do a joint convention. Well, the two have split right before the year, and there is speculation that that split wasn't friendly. NABJ is going to do Chicago solo, which could have a financial impact on them. And NAHJ, the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, they're going to be having theirs in Los Angeles, California, in Hollywood next year. So you can guess which one I'm probably going to be going to. Anyway, they're going to be having their convention separately. This is coming on the eve of next year. NAHJ is turning 40 years old. So they're going to turn this and spin it into a 40th anniversary celebration. NABJ is trying to spin it into a kickoff to their 50th anniversary. Now, you know, I'm the president of the Philadelphia Association, which is America's first Black journalism association. And that's a fact. We were founded before NABJ, and we were founded we got together in 1973. But we were established officially in 1974. So next year will be our official 50th anniversary. So we're going to have a big old bash. All of that being said, there are a lot of candidates going up for election. So this year, we're going to have a brand new president that's going to start. Travell Anderson uses they, them pronouns. They identify as non-binary and transgender. They are running against, and they're a millennial in their early 30s. I've worked with them at the NABJ LGBTQ task force. We were co-chairs together. They're going against Ken Lemon, who is a longtime veteran journalist, who's currently the vice president of broadcast for NABJ. Travell is the Region 4 director, which encompasses Vegas, Arizona, LA, California, all of that. They encompass their leadership encompasses that. So they're both on the NABJ board. Ken is on the executive board. Well, they're running right now, and the race is very heated. A lot of contention on both sides. People are very much paying attention to this election. You know, personally, if I could vote, I would vote for Travell in a heartbeat. I think they're just ready for the job. I think that they're going to move the organization forward. I think they have progressive views. I think they have views that will support people that look like me and the future of journalism overall. They see this as an industry that needs change and reform. I personally believe that Ken is somebody who is just plain on missionary with it. He is a traditionalist. He is somebody who is just going to be focused on, keeping things the way they are. He doesn't really see the problems. He doesn't even talk about problems. He doesn't even say this is a problem. He just kind of just go with the flow. He's just nilly-willy. It's just going to be the same old with him. One of the things that have been brought up is, where do I stand on the amendments? My stance on the amendments is that a lot of them, I find them to be very problematic and undemocratic. But there's one particular amendment that I want to bring up today that I think we should all be just keeping prayer and hoping that doesn't get passed. I talked about it a little bit earlier, a couple of weeks ago, but I want to bring it up now in retrospect or current. There is an amendment right now being proposed by the NABJ elected leadership to the membership. And this proposal requires a 2/3 vote by all NABJ voters who are voting. This is an amendment. It's kind of like when you go to city council and you vote for the elected officials and then there's ballot questions. This is like a ballot question. So one of the amendments is basically asking that in future situations, and meaning after the date to which this is enforced, that moving forward, any NABJ member who is up to be banned by the organization must be given the opportunity to file for the right to appeal, and also to file to speak before the NABJ board of directors to state their claim or make their case. That's part of it. And then the second part is that once all measures have been executed or done and dealt with, that any decision made from the board at that point is final, and that's it. No other boards, past, present, future, whatnot, can reverse the decision that's made by the current board in place once they make an agreement on what the decision is. So if they decide to ban somebody the board after them cannot make the decision or reverse that decision. So that's the amendment. Let me tell you, this amendment was inspired by my ousting because I was the first member in NABJ history to be banned. There's no documented history of NABJ banning anybody else. And this may shock some of you because in this organization, there have been people who've sexually harassed people, have stolen from chapters and people. There's been people who have have been verbally abusive, hostile. There's been physical violence and fights. There's been all kind of issues that have happened in this organization that's been known about. And I did none of that. I never stole from anybody. I never sexually harassed anybody. I never abused or verbally abused. I never stole anything. I never done anything of that magnitude while I was a member of NABJ. All I did was speak out. And some people might have felt that what I said was mean or whatever, but I was criticizing the organization, but I was also in many ways a whistleblower. And so my ousting, in my opinion, was viewed as something that was retaliatory for what I did. This was an act of retaliation. And this sets a bad precedence, right? But here's the thing. As of right now, there's no rule in place. First of all, I was denied the right to appeal. Let me just get out the way. I was told I was not allowed to appeal. I wasn't allowed to reach out to the board and get a conversation in my process. So they made these decisions, off the riff. There was nothing in the policy that spoke to these things. And none of those things were official. They did all this on ad hoc and as they go. And the policy was disgusting and problematic. So what I want to get to, when I want to speak to about some of this situation, what I really want to, wrestle with and get to is that for all of the work and all of the things I've experienced and the things that I've saw, it has been very disappointing. What they try to do with this amendment is they're trying to basically retroactively address their ills. Currently, right now, as we speak, NABJ does not have a formal due process. I was denied a due process when I was battling them over my membership status. There was no due process. And now they're trying to retroactively apply a due process that will benefit future members who might be in this situation, but does not benefit me. And they're also trying to, in the process of doing this, conceal and lock the decision that was happening to me in the process. So two things are happening at once. One is that I feel like basically with this policy is that they're acknowledging Ernest didn't get a due process. And so we need to make sure future members don't have that problem. But at the same time, we don't want Ernest to try to come back and try to argue or debate or put up an issue in the event that this happens. So we need to make sure that we're doing two things at any time. Making sure they lock me out for good, right? For 5 years, technically I'm banned. And then also allow other people to have a due process so they can fight for their rights. That's fucked up. I've traveled across the country and I've spoken to different leaders and different people that's affiliated with NABJ. And I've been told from many of them that they are doing everything in their power to discourage this vote and to kill it. I'm cautiously optimistic that 2/3 of the membership will not vote for this, but you just never know, right? But I'm saying that we are all on the edge of our seat awaiting this decision like a Supreme Court decision. We'll find out like Friday evening, and we'll find out what the results are and what will happen. But if the decision fails, if this will be a landmark, like big deal, then that means that one, I have a second shot to make the case, and my team and other people will be looking at, what are allowed to me, because at this point, NABJ will have acknowledged that they did not do a due process, which means it opens up the door for them to revisit what they did to me. Now, here's the thing. I could apply to appeal, make my case, do stuff, but I'll have a new board. There'll be new leadership at the board. There'll be more people that are able to push against this. And there could be some new persuasion to really change the offset of this. So we'll see what's going to happen. But it would be great to see the membership take a loud stance and reverse this decision. So we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a very interesting week overall. I got so much stuff I'm looking forward to. And, as always, be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode and check out my website at ernestowens.com.